Each month, we can both hear from those in the sanctuary and also read the contributions that we have received. For those of you at home, you can send your joys and concerns throughout the month to uuchurchofriverside@gmail.com. Our next joys and concerns will be on January 7th. December 24th, Sunday service. Next Sunday falls on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. Instead of our usual morning service, we will have a special sing-along service starting at 5 p.m. Please bring light refreshments to be shared afterwards in the parish hall. Please note that the parish hall will also be opening to the community for the Festival of Lights. Once again, there will be no morning service this coming Sunday, December 24th. Instead, we will gather at 5 p.m. in the sanctuary for a special sing-along service. Please note that parking may be limited due to the ongoing Festival of Lights. Potluck Christmas meal. UUCR will once again open its doors to our church and local community at the annual Christmas Potluck Luncheon on Monday, December 25th from 12:30 to 4 p.m. Please bring or donate a dish to add to the table. Dishes that accommodate dietary restrictions are also appreciated. There's a sign-up sheet at the membership table in the parish hall, and your participation will make this a special meal for everyone. If you're bringing a dish that needs to be heated up, please bring them to the kitchen by noon. Thank you. And finally, there is a sound bath event. The Spiritual Living Center here in Riverside will be hosting a sound bath today at 3 p.m. If you have any questions, please ask Adam. At the Center of Spiritual Living. That's by Fairmount Park. Okay. The Social and Environmental Justice Committee meeting is today in the annex at 11:15 a.m. You can find the Zoom link and more information on the website under Social and Environmental Justice. And now I invite you to sit back and take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. We'd like to introduce the speakers of the service today. Wren Monsour is a classically trained singer and a student of library science. She is a pagan and decided to attend a UU church after seeing how far seeing how her fellow pagans were welcomed in the Long Beach UU Church. She lives with her wonderful wife, Quinn, and now volunteers here at UUCR. Alec Peck has been a practicing UU for 25 years. Alec studied natural science at Creighton University, a Jesuit institution, and is now completing his PhD at UC Riverside while serving as chair of the worship committee here at UUCR. Other contributors are Bill Casey, who is a longtime member of UUCR, and perhaps some other speakers, which I'm not sure. So, well, we welcome all of you. Thank you. Today's sermon is called Yuletide Celebration. The daylight hours have been dwindling, and we are at the time of year where the night reaches its prominence. The earth swings around the sun and brings us with it into the new year. This is the season of Yule. Today we celebrate this ancient pagan tradition as an interconnected part of our world. We have two lightings of sacred flames. The first is a remembrance candle for the indigenous peoples whose traditional territories are now occupied by this sacred space and who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. This spot we occupy was originally the sovereign space of the Cahuilla, the Cupeño, the Serrano, and others. We, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy place. Our second flame is our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We are blessed with this space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's chalice lighting for our chalice is called Third Sunday by David Breeden. So far, we have lit a chalice of patience and one to dispel injustice. This week, we pledge to work for that most rarest of things, peace on earth. Please join me in reading the third Advent chalice lighting. You don't have one? Okay, all right. So I'll just read that as we don't have the slide. In this holiday season, may we find peace inside ourselves. May we be peace for those around us. And may we renew our commitment to bring peace with justice to our community and the world. May we be peace. Thank you, Alec. Our next segment is greeting our guests. We have a tradition at UUCR to welcome those who are visitors or perhaps returning after some time away. We know it can be uncomfortable to stand up and speak in front of others, and so I will now ask for a volunteer from someone who has been here for a while to tell us your name and how you found out about our church. We ask you to step close to the mic in front of the pulpit and speak into it directly and clearly so that everyone can hear. Please be aware that you will be visible on our Zoom camera and in the recording of this service, which is posted online. Now, do we have any church members who would like to volunteer for us today? Oh, Linda in the back. Thank you, Linda.
Good morning. My name is Linda Van Voris. I've been with the church since 1995. I came here in the midst of trials and tribulations with my teenage daughter. I needed somewhere to connect up with and I don't know, somebody on my side, being a mom, single mom. So what I stayed for, I have been here a long time. This is a place that I have grown a lot spiritually, based on the 7 principles. And the other hand, the other thing that I've stayed for is the community. Like-minded people, doing a lot of things for the world. Good place to be.
Thank you, Linda. And that's how it's done. So if you are new here, a visitor, or an old friend, please raise your hand to stand and come up into the mic in front of the pulpit. Do we have any volunteers like to introduce themselves? Welcome. So you've made a friend.
Hello, everyone. This is my first time attending a service, but I'm here because Adam hosted some of our meetings when we held meetings here for the Democratic Socialists of America, which I'm a member of. And so I wanted to check you guys out and see what you guys do on Sunday. So I'm here.
We're glad you're here. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to come up and introduce themselves? If there's someone online who'd like to introduce themselves, please raise your hand and we will call on you by Zoom. Let us know who you are, where you are from, and how you found out about us. For any other new guests, please join us for socializing and coffee hour after the service. We'd love to chat with you out in the parish hall, where you can also find our visitors book or sign up on our tablet. Please leave your name before you leave so that we know you are here, and leave your contact information if you'd like to know about upcoming events. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. Our hymn now is number 123, Spirit of Life, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, and stand and body your spirit and join us in singing number 123, Spirit of Life.
All the stirrings of
This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown here, as well as on the church website and in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in church each Sunday. Amazon gift cards are also available. You get the full value of your purchase, and the church also receives a percentage for free. Today, please see Kate Lewicki, who's back in the sound booth, or Robert Brown in the church office if you are interested in purchasing the gift cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity. And to those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. For all of you who have joined us today, thank you for the gift of your presence. Will our ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? A tote bag will also be passed around to collect food and hygiene items for those in need. Our next hymn is number 402, From You I Receive, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you and stand and embody your spirit, and join us in singing hymn number 402, From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Our meditation today is Yule in Sweatpants, which was written by member Bill Casey, whom I will now invite up to the pulpit to read for us. Bill?
Sit back, relax yourselves. If it was a hairy drive over here, let that go. Take a couple of deep breaths. Sit back, your eyes open and closed as you see fit. Remembering that a noun is a person, a place, or a thing, and that a verb is an action. The thing, the trick about being pagan at Yule, in a land like Southern California, dripping with sunlight, is not to look at Yule as a thing, but as an action. maybe more like a meta verb. Yule is, at this moment, not a collection of snowy trees, wreaths, tinsel. Yule, going back to the time before smelted metal, is rebirth. It is daring to believe that the stasis will break and that movement will be restored to the land. Now that land may be smoggy, crowded, and traffic jammed, and sweaty, incandescent with the light coming off of all those cars. The music nowadays may be different. We have the music of Yule today, but we also have the capable hands of Celia Cruz playing salsa, Carlos Santana rocking us with Oye Como Va, some oldies on the jukebox. It is still movement. It is still change. It is still becoming. We are reborn, even in the deserts, even in the smog, even in the now. Somewhere beneath warm winds, we simultaneously pause and move. The sleigh, the Yule log, the trees are old northern images. Indeed, the images do freeze in time, glistening when the light hits them right. Then in their boxes they go, awaiting next year, frozen. But if they freeze on us, the old images, underneath it all, something moves. It is time. Something says, time to start college again. Time to look at that garden, at that job. Something says, you have spent long enough mourning your job, your relationships, or your time spent lost, inert, and unmoving. Something is moving. Something wants you to move again. Something beautiful. In this time, in this place, it is time to break the stasis of sunlight, concrete, asphalt, and fear. Cold or hot, smoggy or clear, Yule time has come. The moment freezes and clarifies. The planet, ourselves, all of them ready and reborn. It is time. It is time.
Now let's pause for a moment of silence. Now I would like to introduce Alec Peck and Wren Monsour leading us in a Yuletide celebration.
Now, first, before I begin, I actually found, well, I say I found, what I mean to say is Wren gave me a really cute pagan carol for me to share with you, which I meant to put in the ingathering and that I also forgot. But Adam is kindly enough going to share that with us now. And so here is Santa Claus is Pagan Too. In just a moment.
too, just like all the rest. And if you are a merry witch, she'll bring you all the best. So get that star up on the roof and bake those cookies too, 'cause Christmas time is really Yule and Santa's pagan too. Got that Buddha belly and his top's the Holly King. You dressed him in that British coat, the cap's a Nordic thing. You took the horns right off his head and stuck them on his deer, but he still flies high like Jupiter with a belly full of beer. Hey, Santa Claus is pagan too, just like all the rest. And if you are a merry witch, he'll bring you all the best. So get that star up on the roof and bake those cookies too, 'cause Christmas time is really Yule and Santa's pagan too. Now history says Christ was likely not a Capricorn, but if you want to share our Yule, we don't care when he's born. Come celebrate the dawning of the Sun King's bright rebirth, and if you practice what you preach, we'll all have peace on earth. Hey, Santa Claus is pagan too, just like all the rest. And if you are a merry witch, he'll bring you all the best. So get that star up on the roof and bake those cookies too, 'cause Christmas time is really Yule and Santa's pagan too. Way more jolly than most Christians would require. And if he weren't so busy, he'd be dancing around this fire. Yeah, you can call it Christmas, you got a sleigh outgunned, but just you wait till Beltane, then we'll see who's having ho ho. Hey, Santa Claus is pagan too, just like all the rest. And if you are a merry witch, he'll bring you all the best. So get that star up on the roof and bake those cookies too, 'cause Christmas time is really Yule and Santa's pagan too. Hey, Santa Claus is pagan too, just like all the rest. And if you are a merry witch, he'll bring you all the best. So get that star up on the roof and bake those cookies too, 'cause Christmas time is really Yule and Santa's pagan too.
I'm glad we were able to include that, since joy is our theme, of course, for Advent as well this week. And welcome once again. This is, of course, a special time of year, and that is because we are halfway through the darkness. This is a turning of the season. The Earth traces out its ellipse through space, a familiar path which it has walked over 4 billion times. Celestial geometry that our planet follows once again brings winter upon us here in the Northern Hemisphere, the start of a new year and a new sun. This is also the time of year when darkness and coldness are at their height. For many, those who feel the holiday blues, it's also when the dark and dreary moods are most prevalent. This is also a time of rest, a time to reset. We can find comfort in the cold. I find that a cold day with a thick blanket is more satisfying than a warm day with a thin sheet. Black is not only the color of loneliness, but it's the color of rich soil. It's the color of the womb. And Taoism is not specifically thought of as pagan usually, but we see the same patterns, that we need the cold to contrast with the warm, and we need dark to see light. And this is also the time of the turning from night into day. In just a few days now, the sun will gain its strength once again, and there is no power on earth that can stop it. No, the earth and the sun are in a cosmic dance, which has dictated the great cycles of life for many millennia. And I've heard before that axial tilt is the reason for the season. And yes, you cannot tell yet, but this is the turning point. And that is why this is also a time of joy, because this is the birth of the new sun springing up with the new year. Yule traditions, as we just saw in that wonderful little video, are going to be familiar even to non-pagans. The decorations of trees, the weaving of branches into wreaths, hanging of mistletoe. These are to appease the natural forces. Mistletoe is a Druidic symbol of joy and peace. Its Gaelic name means all healing, and it is to protect against lightning, fires, and disease and bad luck. And we do these things not only to ease the return of the sun, but we also want to venerate our place in the many cycles of nature. And what spirits are we praying to? Diana, Demeter, the Holly King, god and goddesses of the harvest, whose crops can survive the winter. Sol Invictus, Ra, Brigid, goddesses and gods of the sun. Especially here, as Bill pointed out, in the California desert, whose influence are we feeling at this time of year? And even though I'm Scottish, I don't know if it's possible for me to pray in the same way that my ancestors did. But no winter is like the last. The spirits are not static. They change just as the winter does from year to year. Maybe all of them, maybe some of them, maybe they have turned over 1,000 times, just like the seasons, and have transformed with us and humanity. I mostly think of the Celtic and German traditions, perhaps for obvious reasons. But when I was researching solstice traditions, I learned about Sol Invictus, or since I made everyone pronounce Adventus, it would be Sol Invictus, the Roman god of the sun, who was originally a minor deity, but he was born on December 25th, and that is the date of the solstice in the Roman calendar. This is the date when the new sun is born. And of course, over the time of the Republic and later the Empire, Roman polytheists came to eventually place Sol Invictus at the top of the pantheon, even above Jupiter, often depicting him with a sun-like halo with bright rays around his head. Sounds a little familiar. And of course, by the time of Constantine, it wasn't so much a matter of converting Romans into Catholicism as we know it today, but of really a matter of convincing them that Sol Invictus was really Jesus Christ. And then, of course, we basically just kept the holiday the same after that. And we kept many of those Roman traditions as well. But nowadays, there's another image that is just as strongly associated with the season. The season, or the image of St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, the season of giving. These are things that I feel most strongly especially when I pick up which Christmas tunes I want to listen to. This is a time for we survive here in the cold, not only to remind us that we can survive in times of physical stress, but also we can share the warmth and joy of happiness and friendship. Gone may be the joys of nature, warm air, and ripe fruit, but joy is not gone from our lives. That is the power of being human, that we can create joy just from our being together. This is a time of sadness, but when we feel sad, we are sad not because sometimes we must feel sad, because the day that we stop feeling is the day that they'll put us back down in the earth where we came from. And perhaps we cannot tell, but this too is a turning point. The birth of a new you springing up with the new year. And we do have to eat, of course, to remind ourselves what fullness is, even if we can't feel it. Maybe for the same reason that smiling can make you feel happy, is the reason why we celebrate so joyfully in the middle of winter. I've thought about what I will tell my future children about Santa Claus. I'm not sure if I can stand to tell them that Santa Claus is a real person who will really bring them gifts. But I do believe in the spirit of giving, and I do believe that in the personification of that spirit. And I do think that Santa Claus is just as real as all of those feelings. And the best gifts are often the ones that are given. Sometimes the best feelings that we get at this time of year are from giving from our hearts, when we can think of that perfect gift for that friend. Now, before I hand over to Wren to give her part of the sermon, I wanted to share a story of the Oak King and the Holly King, a traditional story from this time of year. Long ago, when Mother Earth was still an infant, when her surface was still forming, and so too were the elements of nature that we recognize now, among those elements were two brothers. These brothers each felt that they knew the best way to rule the land, and they quarreled over it all the time. One wanted the land to be bright and hot and sunny for the entire year, and the other wanted the land to be dark and cold and sleeping. They fought vigorously on the primordial surface. Every day the sun would rise and set, light and dark, constantly at odds, until there was a clash so mighty that it shook the earth, tilting the whole planet on its side, now with a bright side facing towards the sun and a dark side away. Mother Earth knew this had to stop, and so she told them to share the land between them. And now that she had been tilted to have a bright and a dark side, they could become kings of their respective domains. And so they were content for a while, about 3 billion years. More life evolved, and spirits came to dwell upon the earth, insects and fungi, bushes and mammals. But it's trees and megafauna. Those are the signals that a biome has become a full and self-sustaining ecosystem. Some trees live centuries. Their canopies dictate the growth of everything below them. The oak tree, significant for its towering height and its magnificent strength, became the symbol of long life and wisdom, a tree of kings. The stretching of its mighty branches over the lesser trees of the forest was seen as protective. The king of the light side took the oak leaves as his crown. The oak was considered to represent the season of growth. Alongside the Earth Mother, the Oak King ruled the land as crops and flowers and livestock flourished under the summer sun. When the leaves dropped from the great oak, stripping it barren to the icy winds, the holly is still fully cloaked in its coat of sharp and thorny green leaves. The king of the dark bore the holly upon his head and became the Holly King. Thus, the holly tree represents immortality and victory beyond death, beyond the darkness, but in the form of the Holly King, it also represents the dying side of the year. The brothers couldn't be persuaded to stop their fighting, and one hot day, when the sun was high in the sky, and it seemed that night would never come, the Holly King drew a great darkness, and he said to Sol, the sun god, that he was no longer welcome on earth, and he snuffed out the sun god. Without the light of the sun, the Oak King quickly became weak and faint. "My brother," cried the Holly King. Shocked at what he had done, the Mother Earth bundled up the body of the Oak King and told the Holly King that he must rule the land, and she took the Oak King away. Each day, the hours of the sun grew shorter, and each night the moon rode in the sky a bit longer. The days grew shorter and colder, the nights longer and even colder. Snow started flying. The Holly King could think of nothing but his brother. Finally, the land was bare and dead, and all plants slept. Many animals slept through the cold times, and those that didn't sleep had a hard time finding food and shelter. One bird, the robin, longed especially for the day. And so the robin flew off to find a way through the darkness to bring back the sun. One night, as it seemed like the sun would never rise again and all hope was lost for the Oak King, the robin came to the Oak King and said, "Do not despair, for you shall live again. The sun is reborn again." The Oak King rose, young and youthful, healthy, and came to the Holly King with his robin, his companion and the first sign of spring. The Holly King was overjoyed to see his brother and the flourishing of the land again. The Holly King happily, the Holly King happily stepped aside for his brother to take his place as king of the land once again. The days grew longer and warmer. The moon rode into the sky for less and less time, and the land grew green again, and the plants and animals awoke. Each year the cycle continued, one brother ruling the green time and one the dark. And this is the story of how our ancestors told to explain how the seasons were created, with perhaps a few modern embellishments. And now I'd like to ask Wren to come up and speak a little bit about the history of Yule.
First, I will tell you a little about the history of Yule, and then some about how we celebrate it. The winter solstice, also called Yule, is one of 4 solar holidays celebrated by modern pagans. The name Yule is argued to be up to 2,500 years old, having referred to either the holiday specifically or midwinter in general. By some sources, nearly every solar god is celebrated in December. In ancient Egypt, we have Osiris, Horus, and Ra. In ancient Greece, we have Apollo and Mithras. From the ancient Norse, we have Freyr and Balder. Many of these gods are considered to have been born on the solstice, as it is the time when the sun seems to return to us and the days grow longer. While some pagans honor a specific deity at this time, many celebrate the sun itself and what it represents. We honor this divine child born as a promise of a good year to come. Giving gifts is common at Yule. Santa and his elves are familiar to pagans, as many of our gods also act as gift givers throughout the winter. Odin is a good example, as he flies around on his 8-legged horse, giving gifts to those who have been good through the year. Did I mention that Odin is also called the Yule Father? Rather similar to Santa's nickname of Father Christmas, don't you think? Children in Italy are visited by an ancient witch, La Befana, who flies down the chimney with presents and candy. She even sweeps the floors with her broom. There are also gods and spirits that represent winter itself. Many of them have names that simply translate to old man or old woman winter, whether it's Jack Frost, Djed Moroz, or Frau Holle. These spirits are the ones who bring in the cold and the dark, so you had best be on their good side. Many plants are also sacred to the Yule season. 2 of the most iconic are mistletoe and holly. Even Christians recognize their meaning and incorporate them into Christmas decorations. Holly, as an evergreen plant, represents the hope of life and light returning, while the sharp leaves keep away evil spirits. Mistletoe is highly toxic and is known to have killed the sun god Balder. But with toxin comes medicine, and its medicinal properties gave mistletoe an association with vitality and fertility, thus the tradition of kissing under it. We honor the sun and its warmth with fire and lights. We light bonfires outside and hearth fires inside. We put up strings of electric lights on our houses and even on our trees. We bring an evergreen tree inside, not only to remind ourselves of life that persists through the winter, but also to warm up the tree spirit and foster goodwill with our spirit neighbors. You may have already heard of, if not practiced, lighting a Yule log on fire, wrapped in ribbons and well wishes for the new year. Any unburned remains are kept to light the next one the following year. As with the Yule log, there are other ways to send out your wishes. One way is with handmade decorations that you place on your tree. You can write your wish down or simply use an image that brings you joy. Another wish spell is to light a bayberry candle. As we hear, bayberry candle burnt to the socket brings luck to the home and money to the pocket. Divination, or telling the future, is a common activity. We may use tarot, toss bones, cast runes, or read our dreams. A fun party game is to bake small charms into a cake. Careful not to swallow it. Whichever charm is in your slice could tell you if you get married next year or get a raise at work. Many pagans use this time to honor their gods. You know of leaving out milk and cookies for Santa. I like to honor Frau Holle, or Old Mother Frost, by leaving out a small bowl of milk and honey. Sometimes people act out plays, such as dressing as shepherds to honor the divine baby in the manger. You know, Dionysus. And of course, we can't forget presents, singing, and enjoying good food. My favorite Yuletide food is, of course, homemade chocolate fudge. We have a recipe handed down from my great-grandmother, who herself got it from See's Candy. Well, it's the memories that count, right?
Our closing hymn is Ye Children All of Mother Earth, which are pagan lyrics to the familiar carol, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you and stand and embody your spirit and join in singing along, or just sit back and enjoy the music. Today's benediction is called Bene, which is good, and diction, which means words. This is by Bill Casey, whom I will again invite up to the pulpit to read for us.
Thank you. We yearn for experience, true, loving, deep, sincere, and contagious. A shared well that nourishes our souls and the souls we love so dearly as well. We move from a place where we may have been frozen in place into a deeper world, a world that moves, is vibrant, and calls us with a deep, laughing, joyous tone, a tone to be answered with our own. A moment beyond pale, conflicted words and the imperative get along to get along. Somewhere alongside of and underneath the joy of the season, its urgent need to move, to break ice, sand, and stasis. We are here. Listen for your blessing. Remember it, find it, share it. If somebody is lost, share yours with them until they pick up their own. It's Yule. Live it, love it, let it follow you home. Blessed be, Mary met. Namaste, Amen. And may all the blessings of a busy holy day follow you home and uplift you throughout the season.
Thank you, Alec, Wren, and Bill, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. For those of you who'd like to stay, we will have 10 to 15 minutes for discussion following the service to share our thoughts on today's topic. These will be included on the video that is posted online. So do we have any comments about what anyone's heard today or any experiences that you might have had personally regarding the topic? It's like an alternative view of this time of season. I thought it was very interesting. I think Walt has something to say.
Quite a few years ago when I may have been in the midst of my second girlfriend for some reason anyway, at least 2 decades ago, if not longer. I was caught up with the Christmas spirit. And so I went to Fairmont Park, and there were some people very much down on their luck, I would call homeless, who I said, "Merry Christmas to you." And they said, "What about the rest of the year?" And then they gave me several expletives deleted. So after that, I tempered myself in saying things like Merry Christmas to people in severe need, because as they said, it should be, of course, all year long. It's still a good gesture. I just am careful not to do that ever again. Thank you.
I'm Pat Cowonder, and I've been getting up early and going swimming lately. And when I do that, I see lots of homeless people and they're very cold. And so I've started giving out sleeping bags, and handing somebody who's cold a sleeping bag is a really satisfying thing to do. If anybody wanted to contribute sleeping bags, which we had a lot of around my house, or money for sleeping bags, we'll get them from Amazon on sale. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello. So the way I raise my son for Christmas is the German or European way. So over there, they believe in that there's Santa Claus and then his evil twin brother, who is Krampus or Krampus. So if you're a good child all year, you're a nice child, you get visited by Santa on Christmas Eve for presents. And if you're a naughty child in Germany, you get visited by Krampus, and he does not give you a gift. He is known to do evil things and punish you and leave a lump of coal. So many times on Christmas Eve, we're sitting together, scared to death, not knowing which one is going to come. And it's a wonderful way to raise children in America, an alternative way where you don't spoil them, but you teach them the difference between naughty and nice. So I just want to share that tradition with you guys.
Is there anyone else who'd like to share? Bill?
Just an old memory of this place. There's a few faces around here who will remember it. I'll call back through more years that I'm not sure I want to count right now. There used to be a fellow who went to this church named James Brownsville. And on Christmas time, he would rear back and he would read out loud to the kids with, you know, the picture book going by. He'd read the Polar Express. There are traditions in each of your house for Christmas that mutate them, change them, but maybe you don't want to lose them because it's just that cool when they sound out again.
Anyone else? Anyone online, Adam? No? Okay, then okay. So thank everyone for sharing their thoughts and for being with us today. And now we are adjourned into the parish hall for further fellowship. Thank you for being here.